Welcome to the Robbie V Show. We're gonna do things a little differently here, folks. The first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get right to what you want, and that's the locks of the week. So we're gonna first do the NFL locks of the week. The first lock of the week is Raiders Lions at -8.5 for the Lions. You got to take the Lions in this situation. You know, Brian Hoyer and Jimmy G right now are starting for quarterbacks for the Raiders. You know what? It really doesn't even matter who's starting for the Raiders right now because they're going to have a very hard time keeping this close. When you examine this, the Lions just have too many weapons for the Raiders defense. I do realize the Raiders have a half-decent pass rush, but it's not going to matter. David Montgomery, Jamar Gibbs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown are going to be too much for the Raiders. Amon-Ra St. Brown's amazing. He's an excellent wide receiver, and the Raiders don't have anyone that's going to be able to cover him. Jamar Gibbs is a great rookie out of Bama, and Montgomery, he's been around the league a little bit, but he can run. They're ready. The Raiders defense, yeah, they're going to be up for the game. It's in Detroit. Lions fans are going to be nuts. They might slow them down for a little bit, but eventually, guys, the Lions are going to run away with this thing and bounce back from the Ravens' loss. You know, this is a good bounce back game for the Lions. You know, the Raiders simply are not that good. And also, finally, let's discuss the Raiders' offense. As I said before, you know, they have Devontae Adams. They have Jacobs for their running backs, Josh Jacobs. They're going to struggle to move the ball. Again, Raiders have not ran the ball that well. And Devontae Adams, he can only do so much. So right now, you take the Lions for the 8.5 for the Monday Night Football lock of the week because it's a lock of the week. All right. The second lock of the week is Texans-Panthers. You know, with the Texans -3. All right. We all know the Panthers, quite frankly, cannot get out of their own way. They're not that good. Bryce Young isn't playing good football right now. He doesn't even have that good of weapons, to be honest. And they don't have a win on the season. You know, they're 0-6. The Texans, on the other hand, yeah, they're playing. I get it. They're playing 500 football. They're playing a lot better than people expected them to. C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins are forming quite the combination right now in connection. And the Texans' defense is going to be able to slow down, if not completely stop the Panthers' offense. And the Texans are the play right here. And Texans -3, you're not taking that big of a risk. And it's not that many points. And that is the lock of the week, the second lock of the week. You know, now we're going to move on to NCAA football lock of the weeks. The first lock of the week is Georgia versus Florida. Georgia -14.5. Georgia plays great. They're a great team. They're ranked number 1 in the nation. We all know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I just think this makes too much sense. You know, Carson Beck, Dejon Edwards, and Brock Bowers are going to be, they're going to be too much for the Florida defense to handle. The Georgia Bulldogs defense is going to handle the Florida offense. And the Georgia defense is only allowing 14 points a game. And they seem to have hit their stride recently in the past couple games. Florida does have a 5-2 record, but they got blown out by a Kentucky team that beat Georgia handily. It's also a concern that Florida barely beat South Carolina. They only beat them by 2 points. And South Carolina is not exactly the Steve Spurrier teams that they once were. The fact of the matter is you take Georgia in this situation. For the first NCAA pick, lock of the week. The last lock of the week is a lock of the week that hits close to home, of course. It's Boston College versus UConn. BC is favored by negative 14.5 points. I'll admit, I've been down on BC, and to be honest, I'm not completely sold on this winning streak. But I know 3 things. BC always plays well at home. The UConn can't stop anybody, and UConn's offense is something to be desired. UConn won't be able to stop Thomas Castellanos. Look, he's the best athlete on the field, and he's the NCAA leading quarterback rusher right now. He's simply that good, and he's a human highlight reel. The wide receivers of BC, Lewis Bond, Ryan O'Keefe, and Joseph Griffin, are more than enough to give the UConn defense fits. UConn struggled to move the ball against everybody this year, with the exception of Rice, Utah State, and South Florida. And I can tell you from personal experience, Utah State doesn't have a damn defense. So what are we doing here for UConn's defense? And also, UConn's major weapon on offense is Victor Rosa. He went off for a 75-yard run against NC State, which pulled the game to 24-14. I believe it was in week 1. Other than that, UConn really doesn't have that much going on. I think the BC offensive line is going to find its groove, and it's going to be a long day for the Huskies. last but not least, this is a revenge game for BC as they lost to UConn last year. Lost to UConn down at UConn last year. You take BC for 14.5 points for the lock of the week. And if it's more as of this broadcast, then you move the line down to 14.5 on the alternate line. Guys, let's not go overboard here. I mean, this is Boston College. You know, they're not blowing anyone. No one should be, you know, putting the house and home that they're blowing out anyone by 25 points. And that's the final lock of the week for this week. You know, NCAA and NFL picks. We'll start with the NCAA. There's a couple teams I think you should be aware of this week. Penn State and USC strike me as teams that you should be definitely aware of putting any hope on. You know, they just suffered crushing losses against Ohio State and Utah, respectively. And Caleb Williams definitely, for USC, looked like trash last week against Utah. I believe there's probably going to be a letdown between Indiana, but when Penn State plays Indiana and when USC plays California. Penn State's going to have a hard time winning by 32 if they get off to a slow start. And honestly, with USC's defense and Caleb Williams not really playing that well, I can't trust USC right now. So I would stay away from them. Colorado plus 21 against UCLA. I actually believe Colorado could actually keep this close. You know, Chip Kelly is running basically a quarterback carousel. He's played three QBs this season. He hasn't, as of this show's recording, hasn't announced a starter against Colorado. He should start Dante Moore, but I don't understand why he won't. You know, he's probably the best quarterback of the bunch. He's a freshman. He's the most dynamic. I don't see what Chip sees in the other two QBs, but you know, it's probably a better football mind than me. UCLA is going to beat Colorado. I don't doubt that, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, Colorado's offense is going to keep this close. And this is a big game for Colorado, and they will definitely be up for it after sitting on 2 weeks after the Stanford loss. So you take Colorado plus 21 in this situation. The final college football pick I have is I'm taking Miami -19 over Virginia. Miami has all the momentum right now, especially after that upset at Clemson. They're playing well, and Tyler Van Dyke and the rest of the Miami offense is more than capable of winning this game and running all over Virginia, who really doesn't have that good of a team or a defense for that matter. Virginia's quarterback's not even that good either. I think Miami's defense will be able to, you know, shut down Virginia's offense. This game should be an easy one for the Hurricanes, and I don't think -19 is too big for them to cover. All right. Now, NFL. So, first and foremost, there's no reason to trust the 49ers right now. They're not playing good football. You honestly shouldn't even trust them until they actually do win a game. I was more than surprised against the Browns, and after last week's loss, I was even more surprised. So I wouldn't start believing that the Niners are going to get on track this week. I think it's going to take a beat. The next pick is Giants and the Jets are under 36.5. Both these teams have good defenses and good offenses. Excuse me. The number might seem a little low, but I don't think Gang Green or the Big Blue offense is going to go off this week. I would also lean Jets money line. I can't believe I'm saying that or coughing that. But hey, this is where we are in 2023. I mean, Robbie V has a show, so who knew? My last pick on the NFL is Kansas City versus Denver. Kansas City is -8. Look, Denver's playing horrendous football right now. Russell Wilson's not. He's simply not playing well. Denver's defense can't stop anyone, and their offense and the team turmoil. I mean, you know, to put it in short, they're a mess. The Chiefs right now are playing too good not to take this. You know, that's the fact of the matter is. This is the last pick for the NFL picks. And honestly, to add on to the Chiefs, I mean, who couldn't take the Chiefs after, you know, the Taylor Swift factor? Just kidding. You know, Kelsey and others are playing well. Mahomes is playing out of his mind. They're going to roll into Denver. They're going to win. It's that simple. All right, last segment. Let's get into the MVPs, the wonk of the weeks, and the dope of the days. MVP is Mac Jones. You know, hey, look, we all crapped on him when he played like trash, but he led the Pats to a good win against Buffalo. And yes, I can't believe I'm writing this, but hey, when the Patriots needed a game-winning drive against the Bills, he delivered. And, you know, the Bills were favored by like 9 points. Look, he's been dope of the day a bunch this season, but hey, he deserves to be MVP today. Get the nod today. Dope of the day. Michigan State University scoreboard operator. I don't know in what world he was thinking, like, honestly. I mean, he needs to be fired and have his head examined, to be honest, after putting that picture up there, especially in light of world events. If you haven't heard the story, you're probably been living under a rock. But, you know, to be very honest, the guy needs to grow up and he needs to enjoy his Dope of the Day award. Wonk of the week is Jackson Mahomes. You know, the man is just a creep. Honestly, is there anyone who wants to spotlight more than this guy? It was beyond, like, really weird that he got involved in Taylor and Brittany's touchdown dance. That's basically all over TikTok, YouTube, and whatnot. I don't even know what he was doing there to begin with. I mean, I know what he was doing there in the luxury box. He was seeing his brother play, but I don't know what the hell he's doing getting involved in Taylor and Brittany's dance. Some things you should Jackson, sit out in life. It's usually a good call. He is this week's Wonk of the Week. All right, so we're at the final thing or part here of the show. There's one final note though. With the NBA, with the NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, and the NCAA football and basketball all going on right now, be on the lookout for Robbie V's Plays of the Day. I'll do a video on Twitter if I have one, and I'll tweet out what I'm doing. My Twitter is @RobbieV. Loves it. And also, subscribe to the KMN Network and enjoy Mike of the Minifans, Quantum Kirk, Mount Rush Kirk, and others. I want you to have a good night, and let's, be prepared to win some money this weekend with the locks of the week. Everybody, have a good night. Let's go.